10th, 2021 meeting of the Camden County Board of Education. I'd like to ask members if there's any consideration for open session agenda changes. Seeing none, I entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Motion by Mr. Purcell, seconded by Dr. Banks to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carries. I'd like to ask everyone in attendance if they would recognize a moment of silence. Thank you. Dr. Farrell, has anyone sign up for public comment?
No, sir.
If everyone will please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So tonight it's my pleasure and with great pride, I'd like to introduce to you the North Carolina 2021 1A softball champions. So ladies, I'd like to introduce you. If you would, please come join me up front. Ruby Arnett, Morgan Bruton, Peyton Carver, Tessa Dodson, Morgan Gallup, Skylar Hyatt, Lexi Jones, Cameron Nash, Caroline Pate, Madison Pate, Carly Simmons, Tanya Swinson. Did I say it right?
It's tonight.
Tonight. I was never
Just
in
say
English.
Just
Okay.
You just call me T.
How about Miss Swinson?
Oh, that's lovely.
If I only mess up one, I've done good on this team. Harlan Tannis, Kenzie Tarkington, and Sydney Tatum. And coaches Charles Nash, the head coach, and assistant coaches Jessica Allen and Brandon Tatum. So ladies, you have given Camden County its first state championship in any team sport in school history. You should be congratulated. And I will repeat, you have given Camden County its first state championship in any team sport in school history. And with that said, I'll share that you had a 15-1 season, correct? And the championship was the best of 3 series. You lost game 1 on Friday night, but came back strong by winning games 2 and 3 on Saturday, May 15th. And just so you know, I understand that Friday night's loss was just a dramatic element added for pure fun. I think they did that for time. Because I wasn't there, but I watched all the interviews. We also congratulate Cameron Nash, who was named Most Valuable Player at the state championship.
Yes, Cameron.
So my message to each of you is that the title is now permanently engraved in our county's records, and the thrill of victory you now know will never fade. This accomplishment will serve as a constant reminder of how a group of individuals united as a team for a common cause, which reached across the state of North Carolina. So on behalf of the Camden County Board of Education and everyone in this room today, congratulate each of you on a job well done, and you have much to be proud of, and we're proud of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good job. Maybe fly.
know who she is. So tonight we have a certificate for each one of you. It's a board spotlight that the Camden County Board of Education presents this certificate to each one of you for outstanding contributions to the Camden County Public School System given this 10th day of June, 2021. So, thank you. Morgan Ruth. Peyton. Morgan.
Carolyn and I are not here.
Carolina Madison.
And Ms. D. We'll be sure that Madison and Carolina get theirs. And I'm sure someone would like to get a picture. Is that right? Thank you. That's a tremendous accomplishment. And anybody except you would like to say. I know you do.
I have nothing to say.
That's the first time ever.
All right, guys, will you kind of get like you got with your signs and get by Mr. Overton over here? Let him get in. Whichever way you want to. You're fine. He's gonna get beside you. You're good. Yeah, that would be cute. Yeah. Here. All right, the board's gonna get around you guys. Charles, you're a good man. All right, y'all ready? I'll stand on my tiptoes. Hold on. 1, 2, 3. Let me take one more. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank y'all. See y'all.
So I would now like to ask Ms. Carolina Neal to come forward. And so as most of you already know, Caroline served last year as our junior student board member, and her board service began on September 10th, 2020. Caroline was set to move into our senior student board member position, but since our last board meeting, Caroline and her family have made some important decisions. Prior to the upcoming school year, the O'Neills have decided their family will move to Dare County, and Caroline will attend Manio High School during her senior year. Caroline, it's been the board's pleasure to watch you develop in your role as a board member. Your monthly updates have been very informative and include each school in our district, which is important information for the board. You have demonstrated strong leadership skills and excellent academic abilities, which are indicators that you will be successful wherever you go in life. The board hopes that your time in Camden County Schools has positively impacted your secondary education, that the friendships established here will continue in the years ahead, and the thoughts of Camden County will always make you smile. As a token of appreciation, the Camden County Board of Education would like to present you with this plaque to commemorate your outstanding service as a student board member. and which reads, presented to Caroline O'Neill, in grateful appreciation of your service as a student board member of the Camden County Board of Education, September 10th, 2020 to May 13th, 2021. I would thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wish you great success. You're welcome back anytime. Thank you. And now the Camden County Board of Education would like to spotlight our classified employee of the year, Ms. Fran Barcode, and our certified employee of the year, Ms. Lisa Bowers.
I had no clue. I'm not Miss Fran, but
Yeah.
I'll sit on
You
behalf
gonna
of
sit on her behalf? So I'll read a little bit about Ms. Barker, who serves as the head custodian at Camden Intermediate School and was described by the staff as being a hard worker and one who always goes above and beyond her assigned duties. She's a cheerleader for the staff and students at CIS. Ms. Barker has a good attitude and always has a smile on her face, and she has a hard work ethic that always reaches the highest level of excellence. She is the glue that holds CIS together, and we are extremely proud to call her one of ours, and we want to express how important she is to our school. So, with that, we have a plaque for her. Trees Camden County Schools Employee of the Year presented to Francina Barco in recognition and appreciation of her valued and devoted service to the children of Camden County Schools. I'm gonna set that on behalf. Ms. Byron. Ms. Byron serves as assistant principal at Grandy Primary School, and she is described as one who always exceeds expectations with her dependability, punctuality, work ethic, and passion for others. Ms. Byron goes above and beyond by creating unit plans for teachers, study guides, and more. Last summer, she did an amazing job of organizing remote learning opportunities for students. Ms. Byron works hard to build positive relationships with our students, parents, staff, and community. We're blessed to have Ms. Byron as a part of the GPS family. And so, as we congratulate you as Employee of the Year, presented to Ms. Lisa Byron in recognition and appreciation of your valued and devoted services to the children of Camden County Schools.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Speechless, for real? Now, as we travel back to February of this year, the Daily Advance began polling readers on who they thought were the best businesses and services in the Albemarle area. And the results were published in the 2021 Best of the Albemarle edition on Thursday, April 29th. In that special edition, you will find the Grandy Primary School, Timothy Lazar was named the Daily Advance 2021 Best School Principal. At this time, I would like to ask Mr. Lazar. So, Mr. Lazar, on behalf of the Camden County Board of Education, I want to congratulate you on being named the Daily Advance's Best School Principal in the Albemarle area. You have obviously succeeded in your profession on many levels, and from those successes, our youngest students experience nothing less than exceptional learning opportunities. The first day at Grandy is the beginning of our students' lifelong love of education and achievement. You have demonstrated outstanding leadership while creating an environment which is essential in order to constantly improve the education of our students. Of all honors to be given, the honor of positive public opinion is the honor most cherished. And once again, congratulations for being the best school principal in the Albemarle area, which is a well-deserved title.
Thank you.
So tonight we have for you the board spotlight. for the Camden County Board of Education, present a certificate to Timothy T. Lazar for outstanding contributions to the Camden County Public School System, as well as your certificate of acknowledgement from the Daily Advance for the 2021 Best of the Alma Award.
Appreciate it. I just think that I'm only as good as the people that are around me. When it comes to Granite Primary School and the Camden County School System, I'm surrounded by greatness. My assistant principal, Lisa Byram, my staff, my students, parents, community, school board, my fellow administrators. So this award is not just for me, but represents what everyone does for our students in Camden County. So thank you.
Open session to appear. Consent agenda. Motion by Ms. Island to approve the consent agenda, seconded by Mr. Purcell. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. School highlights. Mr. Timothy Lazar, principal of Granby Primary School.
I'm actually going to be pretty quick. I just wanted to thank everyone. This year has been extremely challenging, but those challenges have made us better and has made us stronger. And I just want to thank everyone in this room, school board, parents, community, and everyone here. Just thank you. Our students made some thank you cards for the board members. And their appreciation for all the things you've done this year. Special one for you, Dr. Beck. And this is all in, no spell check, everything. And actually wrote it, they didn't text it or type it. And yes, Mr. Neal, we have some for you too. And then Ms. Byron has a few snacks for you. They said I had about 20 minutes, so that's what we're gonna take. And then I'm gonna turn over to the best administrative intern we have in Camden County right now, Ms. Swamdale.
Before I begin, I just first want to say thank you to all of you, board members, Dr. Farrell, and the administration of CIS and Grandy for allowing me the opportunity to be a part of the Pirate Leadership Academy for Camden County Schools. I really appreciate it. I cannot tell you in a short amount of time how much I've learned in my experience in just this 1 year, so I'm really excited about next year as well, but I did want to thank you. Mr. Lazar tasked me with creating a video for you guys to highlight the things that are or have happened this year at Grandy. And fitting all the amazing things that they do into one video was very challenging, but I hope you guys enjoy it.
That I get like one of the best teachers of all time,
And who's that?
Miss Langton. I don't really like it. Doing math and art
Why do you love those?
because I just like to. White for like things of like holidays,
Like what?
like Valentine's or like Christmas or like trick or treating or like Patrick's Day or like Cinco de Mayo and like and that's all I'm gonna say.
Raise your hand if you think your teacher's awesome. We just found out that Ms. Hassel has been selected for the Grandy Primary School Teacher of the Year. Can we give her a round of applause?
I have been teaching for 27 years at Grandy Primary. I've taught 32 years in my whole career.
I have been teaching at Grandy Primary School for 28 years. I also did my student teaching here, so that's another year. And then I've taught a few summer schools.
I've been teaching at Grandy Primary for 18 years. I started out in first grade and I taught first grade for 3 years. And then I've been in kindergarten for like 15 years. So I love kindergarten. I will definitely miss the students. I still have students that I've taught before that stop by and say good morning. I look forward to that. I just love my students. I love my parents. And I will definitely miss the staff here at Grandy Primary School. They're like family to me, and I've just had a wonderful time here.
I guess besides missing the relationships with the people that I work with and the students, I think I will miss most that connection and when you see the students grow, that you had a part to do with that and that you were responsible for helping them learn. And especially here at Grandy, it's setting that foundation that's so important. I'm going to miss being able to do that.
What I will miss the most about teaching at Grandy Primary is the staff and the students. The students, not just talking about academics and all that good stuff, but like the conversations that we had pre-COVID when we were in the cafeteria and we would sit at the table with kids and talk to them about their daily routines at home and things like that. I have some of the funniest stories. I could write a book.
I think what I've liked the most about being here at Grandy is the relationships not only with the staff and the admin, but the parents. It's been wonderful. The students and the support that we're given from the administration has been always been top notch.
The staff and the students and the parents in the community. They're very supportive parents, and the staff is a great staff to work with.
But the children, the students is what really makes it worthwhile every day. I come and see their smiling faces, and I enjoy my kindergarten teammates and other teachers here at Grandy as well.
I enjoyed about being at GPS, about the support that I've had. It has been amazing, and I truly feel like I have grown tremendously as a new teacher.
I love teaching at GPS just because of the support system I have here. From the admin to the teachers to the students to my mentor, Ms. Garrard, she's been great. Just everyone's real supportive, real helpful, and I've learned a lot this year from them that I've been able to use in the classroom.
So, what I've liked most about teaching at GPS is the community of just the other employees here. There's amazing administration. I've always felt loved and supported by my admin and by my GPS family and my coworkers here. That's been my favorite part.
Next school year, I am so excited to be in person at the start of the year. Hopefully, fingers crossed. So that'll be good to start the year off with my kids in person, and just really working with my team and the admin again. Really, that support system. The kids are great. The admin's great. The people are great. So I just love working with everyone.
I cannot wait to meet my new students next year.
Next school year, I'm most looking forward to hopefully having students in my classroom, getting to build those relationships and hopefully go to soccer games and extracurricular activities to see my students outside of the classroom and hopefully have more hands-on activities to engage them in the classroom.
Thank you for all your support this year, from the food trucks to everything that you've done for us. So we really appreciate all that you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job on that video.
Ms. Lasher to discuss summer school planning update.
Just want to give you a quick update regarding summer school. First of all, I want to thank the assistant principals because they had a short time to get this off the ground with trying to do testing and wrap up end of the year. So I thank them for their support. Thank the teachers and staff who have volunteered to work it because we just closed school on June 4th and we start summer school Monday, but we're ready. So we ended up giving our staff who are working summer school an optional work day on this past Wednesday, June 9th, so that they could come in, prepare, and get ready. We are employing around 54 staff members. We have 80 to 85 students signed up to be at the CCHS site, so that's our 7th through 12th program, and 111 students signed up to be at GPS. So we're looking to spend between minimum amount 220,000 to around 250,000 to support the summer learning program this year, which is about half of our Esser funds. So, any questions? Like based upon those that we invited?
We invited for targeted.
Oh, it was pretty close, right, Lisa? How many students did you invite?
I want to say probably 10 150?
Yeah, and we have coming to them about 103. So about 66%, I guess. That's the right math quickly. I'm sorry.
What about the upper side?
Well, and CIS was a little bit lower than that. We invited about 47 students, I want to say, and we got 14 who are coming. I think the high school was probably
Just under 50%. We invited just over 100. We got 45. That's
Mhm. And the middle
we just
school
signed
was
another one up tonight, so.
middle school was about the same. And we sent the invite letters, but we followed up with dojo messages and
Yeah, I was
admin
just-
made phone calls and
Yeah, I was
you
just
know,
curious as
yeah.
how the response was.
yeah,
for-
absolutely. And we've tried to work with parents, if they've already signed up for camps or vacations, go do those things and, you're still welcome to be as much of summer school as you can. So. Any other questions? All right. Well,
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you. Ms. Lane to discuss scholarships and senior intentions.
You should have in your packet a summary sheet that indicates what our intentions and scholarship information is for this year. We're comparing it to the class of 2019 rather than the class of 2020 because we didn't have complete data for last year. So we stepped a year back when we did have complete data. So we've got 62% of Camden County High School students, and we have 89 graduates who are pursuing higher education. 13% will be going into the military and 25% will be going into employment or seeking other types of occupations. At the early college, we had 43 graduates, 72% will be pursuing higher education, 7% to the military, and 21% for employment and other pursuits. A summary of both schools, we have 132 graduates total with 65% pursuing higher education, 11% military, 24% employment and other. And of the 29 CECHS graduates, 18 graduated with a COA degree. And then there are 9 students at CEC that will stay for a 5th year. For the scholarship information, Camden County High School students earned a total of $1,055,708 in scholarship. They accepted $611,758. Early college received $291,690, and they accepted all of their scholarships. So for both high schools, the total scholarships awarded was $1,347,398. And then for the total scholarships accepted was $903,448. Any questions? We did have one student. The reason why, when I first saw the numbers between awarded and accepted, I was like, what? We did have one student that by himself got $250,000 in scholarships, but he didn't accept any of them because he's chosen to go to a school here in state that he wanted to go to. So the scholarships were awarded from state colleges out of state. So congratulations to him for amassing that kind of scholarship. Thank you.
Ms. Lane,
Oh, sorry.
that's all right. Was there any CCHS students that received any degree beyond high school?
None that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I'm not saying that there aren't, but I was not made aware of any.
Thank you. Ms. Norfleet to discuss Esser funding.
In your packet, I gave you the allotment policy manual for the 3 Esser funds. We submitted applications for all 3 and have received approval for all 3. The first one is Esser 2, which is for mainly the summer learning program. That one was $497,000. And based on the numbers we have for summer school, that's going to be about half of our money spent this year for that. The funding does not expire until September 30th, 2023. So we still have 2 more years to use that. In the plan, we had put that we would use it for summer learning if we need it for custodial services, devices, which we can change that at any time as the board sees fit. Esser 2 also has a separate piece, competency-based assessment, which we got $10,000 for, and that is to help pay for iReady, which is going to help with the assessments during the summer learning program. And then Esser 3 is the bigger one where we've got just over 1.1 million, but 20% of that, which is $223,000, has to be used to address learning loss. And when we did our application, we did that for summer school, and they told us we had to use Esser 2 for summer school first. We could not just use that. So in that plan, we did pretty much everything we did in Esser 2, but on a larger scale because of getting double the money. This funding doesn't expire until September 30th, 2024. So we had 3 years not knowing next year if we have to do summer school again and what's going to happen in the next 3 budget cycles. And like Esser 2, we can change, do amendments at any time that we see fit of what we need to spend it on. But right now, we have it, and it's there to help pay for summer school, which is nice. We don't have to find it somewhere else to be able to pay for summer school. So, are there any questions?
Do you have an idea, just off the cuff, of where Camden County Schools shook out in the whole Esser funding across the state?
I did not include that with you, with yours, and I should have, because I included it with the TAC minutes to see what we got compared to everywhere else. And in the state, besides charter schools, Camden County received the lowest out of public schools for Esser 2 and Esser 3.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you compare it to an amount that another?
I know some that are close to us received like 2 to 4 times the amount that we did. And I can send that through Dr. Farrell to you, the list that has every school in the state and what they received.
Clemens and Gates both got somewhere around $1 million.
A lot more. Yeah.
Right.
Remember that Esser funding was allotted based solely on free and reduced lunch percentage.
Right. And when we got the first round last year, I know Performance got 4 times the amount we did of that. So I'm guessing they got 4 times the amount as well this time.
We got an email from the NCSBA about it, and I think we were it was drastically.
Yeah, I like go
below
down.
everybody.
Yeah.
And it had all 100 plus.
I know we were like $400,000 or $500,000 under the next person.
I think it's even more than that by the time they rounded 3, and we were vastly under.
I guess my point is this was to help us get through learning losses due to COVID.
Right.
And every
And
child
learning
was
loss
affected by
affects
COVID,
everybody, not just
not just
free and reduced lunch.
any specific
Right.
group. So thank you for that.
All
Any
right.
other questions from Ms. Copley?
I'll forward that to you all tonight after.
That's right. I forgot. I had already sent it to you. So. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Superintendent Farrell discussed the 2021-22 school year plan update.
So this is another hot off the press update. First of all, one of the questions that we're being asked a lot right now is, before I get into Senate Bill 654, is whether or not face coverings will be required with the 21-22 school year. I was on a Zoom meeting with with the Department of Public Instruction and the Department of Health and Human Services last week, and I asked specifically about face coverings. And the response that I got is that right now they're not willing to commit one way or the other. The reason for that, according to the person who was answering the questions, was or is that the vaccine has not yet been made available to young children. And so until that either becomes a reality or there's a decision to do something different, they are unwilling to commit yes or no to face coverings for next year as of right now. I will keep you, and I've got a number of parents that I'm keeping updated about that as well. So with that, Senate Bill 654 has been out there for a while. It's the K-12 COVID-19 provisions Senate bill, and it covers everything from what's going on with school performance grades and annual report cards to principal recruitment and a number of other things. But the only thing that I really want to share with the board tonight and to start to get out there publicly, because parents are asking what is next year going to look like, as far as will we be in person? Will we be 5 days a week? Will remote be an option? And all of that. So first of all, Senate Bill 654 clearly defines remote instruction as instruction delivered to students in a remote location outside of the actual school facility. And that's whether it's synchronous or asynchronous. And so as the bill kind of rolls along, and there are a number of things. So there are really only three options in Senate Bill 654 that would give a school district even the option of offering remote learning. One of those is the school district could apply for a good cause waiver. I have sent an email to ask for what exactly does a good cause waiver mean. I don't think that we would qualify for it because if with what I think it means is, so take like a Watauga County where they get more than 15 days of snow typically a year. They might have a good cause waiver to submit so that they can do, more than 15 days of remote instruction. Take, say, Dare County, where they might have an active hurricane season. And so probably when you submit these good cause waiver requests, you're going to have to be able to prove that you have some history of missing more than the number of days. And we would not be able to do that. So the other option for offering remote instruction is you could offer up to 5 days or 30 hours of remote instruction for weather or other emergency related closings, so that you do that remote instead of just simply closing. So that would be an option. That would be an option for us. In order to do that, we would have to submit a plan by July 1st. And the details of that plan are pretty intense. And so we have to really look at that to decide whether we're going to move forward with that. And then the other way to offer remote, according to Senate Bill 654, is to apply to the state to actually open or offer a remote or virtual school. And a district our size, really can't support that. And so we did not move forward with that. So otherwise, if Senate Bill 654 passes as it's currently written, we would not have the option of offering remote instruction next year at all. And so we would have, so that would mean, so yes, we would come back to school 5 days a week. Yes, we would be in person. So for us, really, now let me back up and say, the board can, for a COVID-19 emergency, as the year progresses, if we have an outbreak of COVID and we don't have staff to be able to offer instruction because of quarantining and all that, the board can do a temporary closure of the school or a grade level, and you could close Camden County High School or make it remote, but keep the other schools functioning in person. But we would have to report that to the Department of Public Instruction within 72 hours, and they would keep track of that as to when we get back in school. So, so that is a temporary option. So, in other words, for us, I looked so what our communication should be based on what I've shared with you tonight, assuming that Senate Bill 654 passes, is a communication out to our families to welcome them back to school in August, in person, 5 days a week, just like as much as we can be as like we were before COVID. And so I will follow Senate Bill 654 very closely and see what happens with that. A question that is likely to come up is, well, what if my child has X, Y, or Z condition And so we will have to work through some individual situations like that. But I'll remind you that right now, as we closed the school year, about 20% of our student population was still 100% virtual by the parents' choice. And so we would not be able to sustain that coming back to school in August. So my preference is to put out there to parents that school is coming back, we're coming back to school, and we welcome your students back to school and move forward with that. And then if there are some, situations that come to our attention because the parent brings it to our attention, then we would certainly meet with those parents and follow guidelines that we have in place in order to make sure that their students who have legitimate health conditions are protected. John, do you have anything to add to that? Any questions about that?
When was the deadline to get the paperwork in for the remote, or weather?
Virtual school?
For the
July
weather-
1st.
Are we trying to do that?
So I've been waiting to see what was going to happen with this because this bill has, they've had more strike throughs and, edits and all that. So what I want to do tomorrow or Monday is go ahead and take a look at what it takes to actually submit that and see what would be required. The feedback we got this year when we had the one snow day was people were appreciative of having, I think what we did is the first day we said, let the kids have a snow day. Because it's, we don't get a lot of that. And then at some point, children need to be children. And so, and then after that, we would do remote, but I'm thinking we would want to have it as an option.
Yeah,
Just
it's
in
nice.
case.
Nice to, instead of having to do a makeup day, if
Even
you're
though-
getting to that point.
Yeah. Even though it's only 5 days or 30 hours, that doesn't sound like much, but it's quite a bit. So. Other questions on that?
I would say just keep us informed of changes.
We'll do it.
Thank you. Superintendent Farrell, Exceptional Children's Staffing Review update.
So you will recall that a couple of months, maybe a little more than that now, I shared with you that I was going to work with, I just lost your name. What was her name? Yes, Alicia Tate, thank you. So with Dr. Alicia Tate, who spent quite a number of years as an EC director throughout the state, and she currently works for a company that does some things, to support school districts with exceptional children's services and all that. So I asked her to come in, take a look at our staff and complete a staffing review for us. And so she did that, and we met with, she and I and principals met with all of the EC staff to share with them what we were doing, why we were doing it. The fear, of course, was that we were doing it to try to cut positions or reduce positions. And so we wanted to ease those fears as much as you can when you're having a staffing review done. And so then my commitment to them was to come back and share that information with them. So we did that. And I want to just kind of quickly go through with you what we shared with them. So when Dr. Tate finished her review, she gave me the information in a couple of different, well, really, she broke it down into 3 areas. So she looked at our exceptional children's population information, and then she looked at our exceptional children's staffing, and then she had some information for us on next steps. So in the PowerPoint that was attached to your board package for this month, one of the things that she looked at is how many EC students are there in each school, or students identified as exceptional in each school compared to the number of students in that school and what that percentage was. Because in the state of North Carolina, it's about 12% is the average, and then nationally it's about 14%. So if you look at the number of students, like for example, at Grandy Primary School, at the time of this study, there were 41 students identified as exceptional, which was about 7% of the population. Camden Intermediate had 35, which was about 9.6% of the population. Student population. Camden Middle was at 23, which was 8%. Camden High School was at 44, which was 10%. The early college was at 5, which was about 3%, and the district as a whole had 148 students identified as exceptional, which was about 8%. So that put us below the state and the national average as far as students with exceptionalities compared to our general population. And so then she kind of further broke that down by looking at the number of staff that we had. If you look over at that next slide, what you would find is that so at Grandy, there were 41 EC students, 5 teachers, and then there were 5 EC, it says ECTAs, but there are some outside agency support there, which brought their teacher-student ratio, one teacher to every 8, and then 1 adult to every 6. If you excluded those that were the adults who were there from outside agencies supporting specific students. At Camden Middle School, the teacher-student ratio was 1 to 9 and 1 to 7 adults. Camden Middle was 1 to 9, 1 teacher to every 9, and then 1 to 4 for the adults. Camden County High School was 1 to 11 for teachers and 1 to 8 for adults. And then you can see that the high school is kind of half and half because Jennifer Lilly, or 0.5, because Jennifer Lilly is there for a short amount of time with the small number of students they have. And as a district, we're at 1 teacher to every 9 students and 1 adult to every 5. And so when you look at her findings and observations, what she said is that our student to teacher ratios are significantly below state policies. She was very, very clear, as was our teachers and school administrators, to say it's not just about numbers, though, because we all know that 1 student could come in and really change the dynamic of everything you have going on and require a lot more support. So it's not just about those 1 to 8 and 1 to 9 numbers. She was very, very clear about that. I see smiles in the room. They all agree, right? So, and then one of her findings and observations was that staffing is more than appropriate for the number of students that we have, and that she said typically for a school district with the number of adults we have to the number of students, you ought to expect to see a relatively high. You should see a lot of high results coming from that, and she said that what our staff is reporting is that it's really more flat. But again, those are numbers. Those aren't, looking at a student who came to us unable to function in a classroom at all, and then being able to go into a classroom 3 hours a day. That's huge growth that would not show up in something like in a study like this. So, and then she said some other findings that she had was that, she feels like we need more of a common language among all of our EC, general ed, administrators, and everyone about, students identified as exceptional, taking a closer look at the level of service and whether or not the students are, in some type of self-contained separate setting or if they're in the general classroom and all that. And based on the information that was provided to her, and the schools and school staff provided the information directly to her. One of her findings was that professional development is something that is likely needed to help our staff to, as far as behavior support is concerned. And then the opportunities for improvement. She recommended that we look at increasing flexibility of staff across the district as far as, which staff member supports which school and which students based on their particular needs, repurposing of positions as vacancies occur. So for example, the one area where she said you are understaffed is school psychologists. We should have 2 and we have 1 based on the numbers that we have. And so she said, so, okay, so you find that you don't need X, Y, Z numbers of teacher assistants. So what if you repurposed that funding and paid for another school psychologist? So like any good school administrator, she didn't recommend just cutting anything. She recommended more repurposing that to get something else that we need. And so the other thing that she recommended was an internal audit of all students currently in a self-contained setting. And then she offered some next steps that she believed we should take a look at. And really, it came down to three. We currently have 4 EC vacancies. And when she called me and said, I know as the superintendent, you're going to want to cut all 4 of those and save that funding. She wasn't totally off base, I'll admit that. But she said, be really careful about that because right now there's no plan to not have those positions. And so, so in talking with our school administrators, talking with Monique Hicks, our EC director, and so forth, we are going to fill 3 at this time. We're going to fill 3 of those 4 vacancies. We do think that we are able to reduce one of them right now, and if that changes, then that changes, and we'll do what we need to do. Because the most important thing that she recommended, Dr. Tate recommended, was that we needed a 3 to 5 year strategic plan for the Exceptional Children's Department. Where do we want to be in 3 years, and how are we going to get there? And she said, I can come in and help you with that, and you can pay me to do that, or you can use the very capable staff that you already have, and I'll just consult with them on an as-needed basis. And so after talking with Ms. Lasher and Ms. Hicks and a couple of others, that's the direction that we feel like we need to go, because we feel like our people are capable of deciding what we want to do and how we want to get there. So those are the next steps that we will take. Again, we're going to fill 3 of the 4 positions for right now. If the other one has to be filled later, we will do that to keep the services moving forward. And then we're going to start with our with a team that currently meets to discuss and move our EC department forward. And we're going to start working at the beginning of the year on a 3 to 5 year strategic plan for the Exceptional Children's Department and see if we can get us where we need to be so that we have a roadmap. Questions about any of that?
All right, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Item G is the financial update as provided monthly in your board package. Does anybody have any questions? Ms. Norfleet on that? Seeing none, we'll move to the action agenda. Dr. Farrell, North Carolina General Trust Errors and Omissions General Liability Fund.
So this fund is something that the school board has participated in the past. Some of the benefits include errors and omissions coverage, general liability coverage. There's a cyber liability coverage that is involved in that. If there were any sexual acts or abuse liability coverage on the part of staff, medical expense coverage for athletics injuries and so forth. And they recently added an active shooter workplace violence crisis response group insurance, so that if we were to ever have an event like that, there would be insurance through the School Boards Association, through the Trust Errors and Omissions General Liability Fund. The cost to participate in that for Camden County Schools is $2,978, and it would be my recommendation that you participate in that fund.
Motion by Mr. Purcell to renew the North Carolina General Trust Errors and Omissions General Liability Fund for 2021-22. Seconded by Dr. Banks. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Dr. Farrell, NCSBA Custom Policy Update Service for 2021-22 fiscal year.
So you will recall that a few years ago, the board, this was right before I got here, I think the board spent $35,000 or so to have all of your policies updated with the North Carolina School Boards Association. So you participated in, and then, so once that was done, then they do a yearly service where they keep them updated so that you're not at a place where you have to get them all overhauled at once, and it keeps us current and up to date where laws and policies are concerned. And so the cost to do that is $6,900, and it would be my recommendation that you renew this service so that our policies stay up to date.
Motion by Ms. Adlet to renew the NCSBA Custom Policy Update Service for the 2021-22 fiscal year. Seconded by Mr. Purcell. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. NCSBA PLS Update Spring 2021 Policy Updates.
All right, and because you all participated in that, what you just approved for next year, because you participated in that last year, the School Boards Association has given us a spring 2021 policy update. I have asked each member of cabinet to go through that and look at any areas that apply to their departments. And so with those updates, I would recommend that you table the policy for the customary review until our next regular scheduled board meeting.
A motion by Dr. Banks to table for review the NCSBA PLS update for spring 2021 policy updates till our next regular scheduled meeting. Seconded by Mr. Heat. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Lane to discuss the Department of Social Services MOU for foster care transportation.
Based on the Every Student Succeeds Act, we are required now to have an MOU with DSS to work out any transportation issues that may arise out of a child that is in foster care in our county, but may, in a best interest situation, need to remain in a school in another county. So we had to pull together an arrangement so that we would be able to share the cost, and DSS was more than happy to do that. Mr. Patterson looked at this, so he's already agreed that he's fine with all the wording in it. I don't know if you want me to go over the details, or if you want me to just basically, that's what I have to say. I mean, I can give you some of the details. The most important part of it, though, is that we agreed to share the cost. And in the past 4 years, to my knowledge, we've had one foster care child. According to Mr. Patterson, we don't have many parents in Camden County that want to foster children. So it has not been anything that has arisen that we've had to deal with in the past. Last year we had one foster child, and that child did go to school in Edenton, and he did live here. So we made arrangements for the transportation prior to having the MOU. I have to send a copy of the MOU and the transportation plan to DPI for their knowledge so that they have it on file. So it's something that we were required to pull together for the event that we would have foster children in our care.
I was able to present it in our board package, so if anybody has any questions for Ms. Lane.
And it was reviewed by the board's attorney.
Yes, it was reviewed by the board's attorney. Yes, sir.
No questions? No questions?
Thank you.
No motion?
So,
We don't have to.
Motion to approve the MOU is presented.
Have a motion from Mr. Purcell to approve the Department of Social Services MOU for foster care transportation as presented by Ms. Lane this evening. seconded by Ms. Idlet. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Superintendent Farrell, NCSBA membership dues and legal assistance fund contribution.
So these are the annual dues to participate in the North Carolina School Boards Association, which you all have done in the past. The membership dues are $12,277, and the legal assistance fund contribution is $1,500, for a total of $13,777. Would be my recommendation that you continue to participate with the North Carolina School Boards Association.
Motion by Mr. Heath to accept the superintendent's recommendation to continue NCSBA membership dues and legal assistance fund as presented. Seconded by Dr. Banks. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Dr. Farrell discussed North Carolina School Board Association Action Center 2021-22 contributions.
The North Carolina School Boards Action Center is an advocacy group with the North Carolina School Boards Association, and in which they advocate on behalf of the of Camden County Schools. And our contribution to participate in that, or your contribution rather to participate in that, is based on our average daily membership, and we fall in the category of $2,000 annually.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll continue to the superintendent's recommendation for closed session, employment of personnel.
It is my recommendation that you approve the personnel agenda as presented by Ms. Anderson in closed session.
Motion by Mr. Purcell that we accept the superintendent's recommendation for personnel employment as presented by Ms. Anderson in closed session. Seconded by Mr. Heath. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Announcements. We'll be holding a Board of Education meeting for the purpose of end-of-year closeout amendments. And for student board member application interviews, that will be on June 29th, 6 o'clock. We'll have our closeout meeting, and then we will enter a closed session for the student board member application interviews. Our summer hours, are again, a reminder, in case you need to visit our schools, are effective from June 11th through July 30th, 2021. And schools and administration are open Monday through Thursday, off on Fridays.
If I may add, Mr. Overton,
Yes, sir.
Libby Coker is going to be replacing Caroline O'Neill as the senior board member.
Okay. And Libby Coker will be replacing Caroline O'Neill as our senior student board member representative. Again, we wish Caroline the best. I know Manio High School will be happy to have her. Does anybody have any other future business items they would like added to the agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion to recess open session to return to closed session. Just to make a note, there will be no further actions in open session once we come out of closed session. Motion by Mr. Purcell that we recess open session to return to closed session. Seconded by Mr. Heath. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all for attending. We'll be entering closed session in a few minutes.